and welcome to the Lyceum Weekly Update number 21 for the week of May 5th, 2014. It's the show where my hair gets darker just to make me look even more sickly. See? Look at that. It's not zit. It's AIDS. Is it too much? Starting off, the Lyceum is a supporter of Dark Sun Entertainment and their gig that's happening this Friday at the Valve Bars. $15 for a bunch of rock and metal acts, including Eyemaze, Triangle, Ocean of Eris, and Vayu. So if you enjoy rock and or metal, or you're in a band that like performing that kind of stuff, head there. You can talk to the Dark Sun Entertainment guys and try and book with them, and they'll give you some gigs and continue to grow bigger and stronger. And the Valve Bar's a cool venue anyway, so may as well find a reason to go there. Alright, starting off, there's only 2 days of launches, Friday and Saturday, but there's a whole heap of bands that are launching. So we'll get straight into it. Friday the 9th, starting off with a rock album launch happening at the Aquarium Wharf, Darling Harbour. So that sounds a bit weird, but what's happening is there's going to be a boat. Pay $30 in cash, get onto the boat, it'll take you on a cruise around the harbour with regular drop-off points. If you want more details of that, it's all linked in the description box so you can have a look. But that is a rock album launch from the band Flip the Bean. Not to be confused with their sister act, Choke the Chicken. And there is a rockabilly country single launch happening at the Basement in Circular Quay that is $15 with A Man Called Stu. Then an indie alternative folk pop EP launch that's happening at Good God Small Club in Chinatown, Sydney. It is only $15 with Hayden Calnan. And an alternative electronica 7-inch launch at the Palace Hotel Haymarket, known as The Square, the underground bar. That is $10 with the Seaport and the Airport. And lastly, for the launches on Friday, a hip-hop album launch that's happening at the Mona Vale Hotel in Mona Vale. $10 with Non-MC. Then on Saturday, there's going to be a rock single launch and an album launch that's happening at the Exchange Hotel in Darlinghurst, also known as Spectrum Bar. It's only $10. The single launch is from The Dead Love, and the album launch is from King of the North. And the only other launch happening on Saturday is a hardcore punk metal album launch that's happening at the Town Hall Hotel in Newtown, also known as The Townie. It's a free gig, as all of them are, with Face Command. Now onto special gigs on Wednesday and Thursday night at the Vanguard in Newtown. There's going to be a folk tribute to the music from Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? It's $25 and there's a whole heap of bands that'll be playing on the night, including bands like The Morrisons, Alana Stone, Brian Campow, and All Our Exes Live in Texas. And the man of constant sorrow. Then moving on to Saturday, there is a progressive post-rock remastering of a debut album that's being relaunched as a 12-inch vinyl. It's $10 at Beat Disc Records in Parramatta with We Lost the Sea. Then on Sunday, there's going to be a metal gig, which is also the final show for one band. It's happening at the Masonic Hall in Blacktown. It's $15 and it's the final show for Point Below Zero. So if you've never had a chance to see the band before, but you like them, probably a good time to go and see them. And now onto some news. There have been a couple of Australian independent acts that have done surprisingly well on the RA charts, with one of them even breaking records. On the album charts, Chet Faker's LP has been up there for 2 consecutive weeks at the #1 spot, beating out others like In Excess and the Frozen soundtrack. It's something that hasn't been done by an Australian band since the Sapphires soundtrack in 2012. And since there's a lot of buzz up around Chet Faker's upcoming tour, it could be enough to keep his album up in the #1 spot for even more weeks. Then in the single charts, there's an Australian indie pop act called Shepherd, and their single Geronimo has kept the #1 spot for 4 consecutive weeks. That is a record-breaking number of consecutive weeks for a band that is also independent. And they also have a tour through North America coming up, so hopefully that buzz can keep the sales coming to make their single continue to be #1 for even more weeks. It's encouraging to see #1 on a chart that's based on sales, and for that chart to be topped by Australian acts who are also independent. And in other news, Double J had their launch on Wednesday, the 30th of April. Double J, if you didn't already know, is the rebranding of Dig Music from ABC to be another digital station branch off from Triple J. It kicked off with a live broadcast from the Kelvin Club in Melbourne and opened with the track Get Ready for Love by Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds. Not a bad song to kick off on, I was really into it. In their first hour of broadcasting, which was the live broadcast, they played 8 songs. 5 of them were Australian acts, which is pretty cool. 2 of them were live at the Kelvin Club. And between some of the songs, they announced the hosts as well as the programming that they'll be doing for Double J. So without further ado, here is the rundown. On weekdays, Before Hurst will be the host from 11 AM to 3 PM, playing new releases, interviews, some Triple J archive stuff, as well as quizzes that people can call in and do. Then Monday from 8 PM to 10 PM is Revelator with Emma Swift. That will showcase a whole bunch of Americana, alternative country, folk, rockabilly kind of music. Then Tuesday from 8 PM to 10 PM is Something More with Tim Shiel. That'll be showcasing innovative music, touching on more experimental, and tunes that Tim Shiel feels pushes the boundaries of music. Then Wednesday from 8 PM to 10 PM is The Beat Eclectic with Karen Lang. That'll be mixing together different genres of post-rock, classic punk, future pop, as well as some electronica tunes. Then on Thursday from 8 PM to 10 PM is The J Files, which ended in 2003 on Triple J and will now be revived for Double J. It has a different host every week who will spotlight on a particular artist or an album or some kind of theme, and it will show original interviews, on-air moments, and it will have online polls that people can take, and people can also call in and share their own stories about the spotlighted band. Then on Saturday from 9 AM to 12 PM is This Week in Music, hosted by Carolyn Tran, also known as Kaz Tran. That will show off best tracks from the week, interview highlights that happened, just a big roundup of all the cool stuff that happened. And from 6 PM to 8 PM on Saturdays is Sky High with Lance Ferguson, looking over a whole heap of funk, soul, groove, and hip-hop tunes. And lastly, Sunday from 3 PM to 5 PM is Artist in Residence. It's a show that gives a month-long residency spot to a particular artist, and each week they'll put together a playlist with a different theme of stuff that they want to show to the audience. This month of May is going to be Robert Forster, who kicked off his residency yesterday with Bowie in the 70s. And I believe the other weeks this month will showcase a bunch of classic 70s playlists. He's also going to go over 90s tunes playlists. There are also other confirmed artists who will take up the month-long residency spot on Sundays, including the Cat Empire, Adelita, Kevin Mitchell, Henry Rollins, and a much bigger one, Iggy Pop. So that will be a very interesting show to keep track of, especially with the different artists and what they choose to spotlight, what they choose to show off. I am personally curious of how much Double J will focus on heavier things like rock, metal, punk, because although the reason that they made Double J was more as a nostalgia bit for older people and the kind of music that they were used to hearing in past years on Triple J, it also seems to be a good opportunity for those people who loved the 90s Triple J to show off that style of music from that era, alternative rock, metal, punk, and give it its own spotlight. Because at the moment, as far as a popular radio station goes, there isn't really one that gives an avenue for metal and punk bands to be known and have that stepping stone to get thrown into the public eye. And moving on to the final news piece for this week, the City of Sydney have put out a call for people aged 12 to 24, looking for people to get involved in the Sydney Youth Music Team. There'll be a team of people who will help organise and promote all ages gigs around the city. This is all part of implementing the Live Music Task Force and their 57-point action plan involving with all ages gigs, allowing people to get more benefits by putting on all ages gigs and now the ability to promote very well. There is also the push that it's an opportunity for younger people to get involved in promoting music, getting involved in aspects of the live music industry. The age limit is more of a guide, so it doesn't really matter if you are outside of it. Still get in touch with them, and if you're interested in getting in touch with them, you can contact Jenna Bloom. And to make sure I don't get her email wrong, you can contact her at jbloom@cityofsydney.newsouthwales.gov.au. And finally, Band of the Week this week goes to Drover Mad. Drover Mad? Drover Insane! They are a hard rock band from Sydney, and the thing that I like when I listen to a hard rock band is that it comes in heavy, and then you wait for the vocals to come in, and so often the vocals will come in and you go, oh. But at least with these guys, the vocals come in and it stays really strong. The guy has a great voice and it can get that rough tone to it that is really cool. But you can check it out for yourself. I'll have a track of theirs playing at the end of this video. And if you want to check them out live, they're playing on Sunday at the Valve Bar. So if you like what you hear at the end of this video, then check out their page, give them a like, and go see them live. That is it for me. If you're interested in any of the bands or the events that I talked about during this video, everything is linked in the description box below. If you head to our website, you can also check out the gig guide because that is currently up and ready to go. You can also hear all of the bands that are having launches this week in our playlist. Thank you for tuning in, and if you like what we do, if you like the gig guide, if you like these videos, anything like that, be sure to share us around Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, we're on all of them. Help us grow bigger and show off awesome bands in the local music scene. Help us grow bigger, find ways to benefit you and the bands around you. I'll be back next Monday with another roundup of launches and news. Until then, be good.